go live. I think that's instant when I do that. And it is. It worked. First click. I was using StreamYard for a little while, which I like, but StreamYard is not as easy as this is to switch. And I like this switching better. It just feels easier to go between different screens on things and jump back and forth. So yeah, I'm back to using this, but I'm going to go back to using StreamYard sometimes too. Matter of fact, I should use StreamYard combined with this, and then I can actually do both at the same time. More setup work, but more things I can do. So welcome to Vlog Thursday number 250. We're going to talk today about some Xen Orchestra updates. And I realized I'm catching up and saying no to some of the hardware reviews I've been asked to do. Matter of fact, I just got an email from Supermicro. They really liked my last review, and it's fun, but hardware takes a lot longer to review than some of my tutorials. So before I say yes to any more hardware reviews, I'm definitely saying yes to more tutorials, which everyone's like, Tom, when are you going to get to those tutorials about pfSense and WireGuard? And I'm like, yes, I will be getting to those. I'm starting that project. I also am delivering some projects for clients, other projects I'm working on. So I had to get all those out of the way, get that delivered, and that gets delivered Tuesday. So, hey, if you're watching client, see you Tuesday. We'll be out there doing a delivery and setting up all the racks and the servers and things like that. I also recorded several videos on some new, how to build a rack, how to do some networking. I did those on site, and I really want to take the time to edit them to make them very concise. So the filming was already 2 weeks ago, and I'm catching up with the editing side of that. And kind of related is I'm also going to be building a new studio soon. We decided that it is time that I build a new dedicated studio, and we're building it at my house because I have so much extra space I'm not using at my house. I have a 2,000 square foot basement, well, like 20,000 or 2,200 square foot basement that has 9-foot ceilings. And so we're dedicating a section of that to be my studio so I can just do live streams whenever. And I want to be able to do live streams. So I don't have to go home at the end of the day type thing. I'll be home so I can do late night live streams and maybe a few other extra things I want to be able to do. Because it's kind of a hobby for me, jumping on and doing podcasts and everything else. But also it'll free up my editing time. So I'll have a dedicated area where I just spend that time creating those longer form narratives and tutorials that are so much harder to do. Everything else I do is so much broken up in between. To really get it right, I need to kind of focus. And that's kind of where I'm going with all that. But yeah, definitely going to be fun. I'm watching the people ramp up here. I always like to talk through a few things that are going on before the numbers ramp up for all the people on here, because everyone says, what did I miss? Because YouTube's notification system is less than wonderful about telling people, even though I tweeted, even though it's posted in my forums, I've done everything I can to notify people. But it always takes 10 minutes in before I see all the numbers go, hey, look, there's Tom and he's live. But nonetheless, lots of fun. I see all the people in there. So we got Cody from Mac Telecom Networks in here. I got lots of other people. So let's see. Good afternoon. We got Jake. We got Will. We have all kinds of names I can pronounce. Stenkel Bulanov. I think I'm saying that right. We got a Mike, Jake, Billy, Oliver Lambert. There's a guy I like to see. We got to do, me and Oliver, if you don't know, Oliver is the head of the XCP-ng project over there at Vates. They are awesome. They're the ones who bring us the XCP-ng project. So I'm excited to see Oliver in here because that is awesome. And I think Oliver's seen, because me and Wendell from Level 1 Tech's been conversing a little bit back and forth about XCP-ng, and he's like me. He started with it and he goes, this has a lot of features. Boy, this has a lot of features. This does a lot. And so we've been kind of excited about it. So I want to do, now that we're all the way in 8, I realized my last getting started tutorial was in Orchestra was all the way back in version it would have been in version 7. So I need to do an entire version 8 tutorial. They've added some really awesome stuff in here. The small quality of life improvements, when I look back on that old video going, wow, there's a lot of little things in here that's been updated and improved. And yeah, I just really like all these features. It's just pretty cool. So I'll be excited to really jump into getting into all those different things and how all of that works. matter of fact, I'm curious now. So I have a couple of them here. We got this Dell Lab. Looking at the network settings on it. Yeah. All right, that's ETH1. The one I haven't tried this in version 8 is some of the matching when you join pools, but they've just done so much in here. But I guess where should we start with this? The new backup system. The backups are much improved from where they used to be. There was a lot of performance issues people would kind of bring up about some of the as in Oliver can't miss a vlog with XCP-ng in the title. Actually, I should move myself somewhere else. Let me get that so I'm not covering up the chat. There we go. Put myself down here. But yeah, no, the XCP-ng stuff, man. I'm excited to dive back in and really make some tutorials. So that's why I'm talking about it. So hey, Tom and chat from Rainy, Switzerland. Switzerland's awesome. Cool. Oh yes, you'll see all kinds of videos on this new studio build. You know, I'll share a picture of the space I have. I don't even know if I don't know if I have a recent one or not. It looks different now. It's just more empty. I have a picture when we first moved in the house. Where'd that picture go? So here's the space where the studio is going. This is when we first moved in. So this picture is an idea of what my basement looks like right now, but there's less stuff in it. This was some of the construction stuff from it still being finished. You can see there's ladders and a power washer. That's all been cleared out. So, but yeah, that's where the studio space is going to end up. So it's a pretty big basement, as you can tell. My wife's standing over there in the background. So yes, definitely be talking about that. Exciting stuff for sure. So that's, yeah, once I do the whole new studio, let's see. Yeah, once we get that whole new studio done, it's pretty exciting. It's just, I have a, you know, like I said, I'm excited to build it all and start doing all that fun stuff. Back over to XCP-ng. A lot of little changes, and actually I started dragging over all the Xen blog stuff. We'll drag that over here too. So we'll talk about the changes and then actually show some of them, but in some of the latest ones here, and just for Halloween, thank you, Oliver Lambert and team over at Vates, for giving us a fun update just in time for Halloween. And a few of you, and I have not done a video on Netbox, but they have Netbox compatibility. I've actually talked to, we help someone with a storage solution, but they love the Netbox integration with their XCP-ng. If you're not familiar with Netbox, it's a way to manage all your IPs and everything else. And they've taken the time to do that level of integration on here, which is just really slick that you can do that. This is something that's up and coming. This is the XO Lite. We're still making some progress on XO Lite. This is kind of an interesting, I really like the approach you're taking to us. It's very early stages here. So this is like, I guess you might want to call it somewhat alpha. But a lot of people said, well, Tom, the thing I don't like about XCP-ng is that you have to load Xen Orchestra on a VM into itself. Of course, that does take up some memory. There's some advantages to doing it that way. I'll cover momentarily. But XO Lite is going to be a way you can actually connect to the system. And whoops, is there a way I can do it here? Which system has it? I think the Dell might have it in there. Let me see. So it's 192. It's not on this server. Let me figure out which server it's on real quick. I actually have a demo of this. This is really a cool thing that they're working on. It's on this server, 2.10, I think. Whoops. If only I could type today. There we go. There we go. They're working on the ability to have some functionality with XO Lite. So it's going to be able to be a lightweight version, so you can connect it to your Xen servers without having to load Xen Orchestra. So it's kind of like Xen Orchestra Lite, XO Lite. And this is going to be for some basic administration. The reason you have, like with Xen Orchestra, all the other features and everything else is, especially like the backup, which I'm going to talk about, is with Xen Orchestra, you get so many features, it kind of has to be its separate standalone product for it to orchestrate all the different things that it can do. But the XO Lite's going to be for people that want to get started and just have some control over VMs and not have to worry about any of the other things in between. And it's pretty cool. It's coming along. It's going to take a little bit before they get there, but I like the direction they're going with it. See, I love XO, experiment with SC targets, and yeah. One thing I'm asking, and maybe Oliver's still listening on this one here, I'm excited about the S3 targets, and let me show you what those are. When you go over here to settings, you go to remotes, and remotes are what they refer to as the backup targets. So currently this is a backup target, but one of the other options is an Amazon S3 target in here. The challenge is, and I don't think there's, I think one of the problems I ran into when I was setting up an S3 target is it does check for a valid certificate. I think that's one problem right now, but eventually that would be a handy feature. Now, if you're just backing up to S3, you're going to have a valid cert, and that's irrelevant. But for demo stuff, I actually like, there's a tool you can use called MinIO that emulates an S3 bucket. And matter of fact, this is a feature. If you, I'm going to pull up my 213. In my TrueNAS system, this is a feature that you have within TrueNAS. So we'll go here, here, here. Then we're going to go over to services. And right there's S3. So you can actually create your S3 targets in here. And when I was trying it before, this was one of the problems I ran into was it kept giving me a certificate error, so I couldn't get it to use this as a storage target. Like I said, it's not necessarily something that's as big a deal in production, but then again, some people may run because they have something that's S3 compatible, but they don't want to take the time to put the certificates on there. So, you know, eventually hoping they add the feature to be able to use a self-signed certificate on there. Ooh, okay. Right here. Ultrafast will be available in November release and working on self-signed. That is awesome. So thank you. This is what's awesome when you get the developers joined in here. So it's going to be very cool. You know, this is a fair point too. You don't have to install XO, XCP-ng if you don't want to. It does work on VirtualBox. This is one of the things about the way XCP-ng works. And let's pull up some, let's do a drawing real quick here. So the way XCP-ng works, and let's pull up a server. Well, let's do a, that's ugly, that's an empty rack. There we go, server tower. We'll drag these around a little bit. Actually, let's do this. Draw.io for those of you wondering how I'm drawing things so fast. Xen Orchestra. So these are 2 hosts or 3 hosts. Or maybe this is a pool of them over here. And if we do a pool, then we can always draw this around right here. And I'm gonna do some more graphics like this to do a kind of a demo for how the system itself works. Where we go? Yeah, let's put a rectangle around it. Two back. So this would be a pool of multiple servers. These are some standalone ones. And Xen Orchestra, and let's like this cool rounded green. Make these a little fatter. I don't really want arrows on the end of it. There we go. We draw fast. There we go. And then we set as default style. There we go. There, that looks prettier. So Xen Orchestra is a one-to-many relationship. You can have a Xen Orchestra server talking to each one of these different XCP-ng hosts, or a pool of them where you take all the resources together. Now, when you're doing like HA, let's say you have an HA pool or some high availability cluster you built right here, Xen Orchestra can talk to all of these. By the way, these don't have to be local either. So these can be remote. And we have clients like this where they're managing a Xen Orchestra instance that manages all the different instances. Now, here's one challenge, and this is how they solved it. Let's say, and we'll duplicate this one here, and we'll just call this guy remote. So if we have one of these, come on. Whoops, I'm dragging them wrong. This goes over here. Two back. Actually, let me do this too so I can pop the chat out over here so I can still read the chat. There. Catch up with all the stuff here. What was the other thing we missed here? We were doing progress on C targets. I like to keep up with all this stuff here. Let's see. XOS works with Raspberry Pi. Yes. That's actually a fun fact too for those of you who didn't know. You can load this on a Raspberry Pi if you want to manage it that way. So there's kind of a neat feature there. What else we have? Ooh, that's exciting. If sources will be in 15 days, that's really cool. All right. So Xen Orchestra, let's say all of these ones over here are local systems, but this one over here is remote. This is where they have kind of a neat feature for being able to handle this. And so Xen Orchestra handles not just the management of multiple servers at once, it can also handle the backups of them. But in the case of remote backups, this is where they have the ability to have, we'll duplicate this, but make it mini. Oops. Delete, delete. It's fun drawing all this stuff in real time, right? You can actually talk to remote servers, but then to handle the backups, they can actually have proxy backups that handle locally different backup functionality and everything else that's in there. So it's kind of a neat way that this is why Xen Orchestra from a scalability standpoint, because I've talked to some people that have like hundreds of host XCP machines scattered around in different places, maybe even in their own data center. You only need one Xen Orchestra instance. So from a home user standpoint that's saying, well, I don't want to have to load Xen Orchestra on my XCP-ng host directly, I get it. But then when you talk about scalability of product and larger enterprise usage, this is an interesting aspect of it. The other thing that's really novel about Xen Orchestra is without any interference, you can do this. You can actually have servers talking to another instance of Xen Orchestra. This works perfectly fine without conflict. Xen Orchestra is reading the configuration and writing the configuration to each host and not storing it on its own. Therefore, whenever you're making these changes, the other instances of Xen Orchestra that are connected simultaneously to it all get to see the changes at the same time. So you can actually have some local administrators, or maybe you're a remote administrator, and be able to handle all of these things like this. It's a really slick system once you kind of wrap your head around the fact that it's a one-to-many relationship in both ways, from host to Xen Orchestra or Xen Orchestra to host. And like Oliver said, if you want to do something like run it on a Raspberry Pi, you can have a Raspberry Pi that then controls as many different XCP-ng hosts as you spin up. And then as you start pooling and managing those resources together, it can handle it. The downside of a Raspberry Pi will immediately be felt when you try to do some of the backup stuff, because the backups, yeah, that's going to slow you down a little bit if you got to do the backups on there, because they do pass through here. Because when we set the backups up, and we'll put another server in here real quick. We have a picture of a storage server. SQL. Oh, these look like storage. STORAGE. We'll put a tape storage. Don't use tape, by the way. They're not really designed for tape. But when you set up the backups, the remotes, as they're referred to, and this can be S3. So, matter of fact, S3. I'm pretty sure there's probably something S3 in my shapes. Hey, look at that. There's an S3 shape. Xen Orchestra can handle all of your... why didn't that connect? There we go. Whatever. I was trying to make it look prettier. Let's move that one up. Bothered me that they weren't separated right. Xen Orchestra is better than vCenter, so... Oh, here's a good point too. On the topic of people with a lot of remote sites DCs, we also provide a kind of reverse proxy for only open entry point to an external XO. Yeah. Definitely. There's a lot of... Oh, reverse proxies based on the backup proxies. That's actually really cool. I didn't know you did that. That's something else I'll have to dive into. Xen Orchestra seems better than vCenter. This is something me and Wendell, I want to, if I can talk him into doing a video with it, because Wendell's way more versed in vCenter than me, which that's what's got me excited that Wendell from Level 1 Techs likes the Xen Orchestra so much, because he's like, this is really impressive. And he's a guy who's done some very large-scale vCenter stuff. So it's... one of those things like the big changes from there. But whatever your backup targets are, one of the other things I like about the way Xen Orchestra works is, even though these hosts may not know each other, one of the things Xen Orchestra can do, so they're not pooled together, they're individual hosts. As a matter of fact, that's exactly how we have this set up here. Actually, let me switch something. I got too many things. Is there any? Oh, yeah. I don't need this anymore. Don't save. All right. Crap everywhere on there. Nothing's... Anyways. Go back over to here. Here in our settings, you go to settings, servers. I've got 3. They're on the same network, so they can talk to each other. But having these 3 servers here means I can actually take the VMs that are within here. Matter of fact, let's change this to... So you can see the VMs. This one, what's this one at? This one's living on the TrueNAS Mini right now. If I wanted to migrate this, I can actually migrate this easily, copy it, fast clone, if I just want to make a quick duplicate. So we go back there, here's a clone of it. Or I can take and say, migrate this, and I can move it to the other hosts that are in the list. So each one of these is a completely different host. They're all independent of each other, but because Xen Orchestra can talk to them, I can shuffle things around between all the different Xen Orchestra, all the XCP-ng hosts through one instance of Xen Orchestra. This, like I said, just makes it really, really handy for doing this type of things. Now, let's talk a little bit about the backup stuff. What else do we have? Is there automated backup verification so you can restore a backup and make sure a server responds to a ping? This would be a whole different issue, because this is a completely different function. You can do that with a few different Veeam. Has it. The Enable software has it. It's a little bit different, though, spinning something up again somewhere to verify it, making sure it can do something without interfering with the existing VM. I mean, it's it's not something I don't think that really becomes a part of Xen Orchestra. It's cool, but I don't know if that's something they would actually do, is do the entire spin up a VM to verify the backup is good. It's neat, but I don't really foresee that in the short term being I should say in the near future. I mean, it's a cool feature. I know Oliver's listening on this, but it's not something I would actually say on there. So it's definitely a pretty cool thing. Is XCP-ng and XOA recommended for a home lab? Absolutely, I say yes. I definitely would use XCP-ng. I use it for my lab. I know a lot of people that use it for home lab. It's actually really slick for all of that. Matter of fact, one thing's we can talk about for doing like a home lab on here. So let's look at this particular, what server is this one on? Let's migrate this to another server. So let's migrate. We'll put this on my Dell lab or this lab. Let me see what networks are available on this lab. So let's see, I want to match the networks. So they were talking about this, and this is where you talk about the network pull downs. I keep mine shorter right here. That's something, someone had mentioned this right here. And one of the things I do, let me show you what, we go to like one of the pools and we set up the networking on here. I change all of them because the default is kind of a longer name. So any of the systems I have, like the right here, what's the network names on this one? Yeah. I changed the word, I put the words not in use on all of them. That's, I keep everything really short when I do it. So right here's the management network studio. This has a something called Pwnage on it, which is this VLAN 1337. So that's definitely the one I want that network on. And go here. We'll just migrate it back over here. Select migration network, perfect. Local storage, that works. Hit OK. It's going to migrate that right on over there to the other system. Yeah, I mean, ESXi is obviously the really, it's, oh, I like this. So my dev answer is, in fact, he's in fact building the S3 backup with MinIO. That's actually cool. They're actually using it, which is perfect because I know if it's the thing. And if you just want to keep repeating you're starting a business, I'll just put you, I'll remove you. So yeah, this is not the place to advertise your business. Remove message. So anyways, but yeah, that you're building it with MinIO, that's definitely pretty cool because that's what I'll be doing my testing and my lab stuff with because, well, I like TrueNAS and TrueNAS. Well, matter of fact, I've done a video itself just on MinIO because it's a really cool S3 type of emulator for, it's got some more than just S3 emulators. It's got some ways it can build storage redundancy. It's just a cool service altogether. MinIO is actually that really neat service. More on Xen Orchestra. All right, we're doing a migration. It says it's going to take 7 minutes. Unfortunately, the storage is slower than I thought, so we'll have to wait on that one to get finished. Well, we can do other things while it migrates. But let's talk about something fun like this right here. So let me unlock this system. Matter of fact, let's do this. I got to take over this system and log into it. Takes a second for this to get going, and I'll drag it over there. I'm using my remote control app for this. Gotta put the password in. I don't feel like typing a password, it's too long. But you can see this is just a way to remotely control this system. And I did shut it down improperly because I was goofing off. That happens sometimes. All right, let's pull up our task manager. And Actually, this one might be kind of big to back up. We'll back up another one when it's done copying, or we'll just fire this one up. What is this one running on? Oh, no hosts available. What is this on right? Oh, there's not enough room available, so we should probably shut down the Windows one. All right, so that won't start on here. Oh, this is a pretty good question here. Any problems running XCP-ng on that? Matter of fact, let's go over here to hosts. This is running on a Ryzen. Specifically, this is a processor in this one. AMD Ryzen 5600G Radeon graphics. So, yes, this is a you can run it on Ryzen. That it absolutely does work. This is almost done copying these files, so we can fire up something else. We're going to shut down this lab server as it's taking up too much memory. So we'll go ahead and stop that one. So that's why I wouldn't start the other service, because, well, there's not enough memory to start this one at the same time. I don't have a lot of RAM in my Ryzen server. Let's put this on, I'll leave it on this network. Now it should start. There we go. What disk is this on? Oh, it's on the TrueNAS Mini right now. You can get an IPMI interface with a with systems. Yeah. Oh, this is true too. I would go Epic if you're going to go for a full one. But yeah, Ryzen, like for the lab, this is part of the demo I'm going to do, because I know I want to target it so people can use it on hardware that's more accessible. Don't get me wrong. The Epic is awesome, but the Epic system is going to be a little bit more expensive. Great for production. And matter of fact, the demo I did, we'll go over here, and if you look up the Super Micro server I did, Grant, I know it's an Intel one, but I did this video with XCP-ng, and here's, using local NVMe ZFS. This whole video, I break this down, running XCP-ng, all the performance you can get on there. Yes, I know it's an Intel one, but yeah, when you load this up on some enterprise hardware, you can get some really crazy performance out of XCP-ng. In matter of fact, I have the somewhere in here. That's the server. Oh, I get the benchmarks are somewhere. They're in the video, that's for sure. We talk about just how many IOPS you can get out of the system. So this is easy enough to find. It's a Supermicro Ultra server with XCP-ng. Give you an idea of some of the performance you can do on there. Threadripper's good too. I will admit, don't use Xen server, or Xen Center. I don't know where they stand on it. I haven't used it in a long time. You can do pretty much. There's not much. I don't think there's anything in Xen Center that you can't do in Xen Orchestra. But Xen Center, I don't like it because you have to run it. There's a way to get it to work in Linux, but it's pretty much designed to run in Windows to manage it. It's the old software. Pretty much everything, to me, Xen Orchestra is the better way to manage the system. So a lot of people ask me because you don't need Xen Center to even load Xen Orchestra. Matter of fact, one of the things they have, like, here's the XO Lite, but if you go over here, here is the quick deploy, where you can actually deploy as soon as you set up, and I've covered this in one of my lab videos, you can do a quick deploy and get the basics loaded right away. And then I have another video for running this in your home lab if you want to build it from source. But it's pretty easy to get this deployed, and you don't really need any, you don't need much to get that going. Back over to here, back over to playing with Xen Orchestra. This is up and running. Oops, I think I got the wrong username. Actually, it's LTS. Now, since it's been a while, I think I have a demo when they added this feature here. Because now you can do snapshots with memory and do backups with memory. And what within memory means is, let's play with this real quick. Snapshot with memory. So it's going to grab a snapshot of this. Takes a second to grab because it's grabbing the memory status and everything. So if we go over here to console, I was still thinking of finishing the snapshot. Does it faster on faster servers. All right. So now I've done this, and we can even do things like reboot the server. So we'll reboot it. Which this is on a reasonably fast system, so it should boot relatively fast. Actually, how's our task doing? 2 minutes left, and we'll have this one done. That's the other one we're migrating to another server. So we can go here, we'll log back in. And now let's do something fun. Sudo... Spell it right. RM. Yeah, why not? Oh, we can't remove some of the proc. I'm sure something's going to break by doing this. Well, some things won't remove, I guess. But some things will remove. So we're going all out. We'll just let this run for a second because we'll kind of do this demo here. Whoops. Put that in the background. Put this in the foreground. Yeah. I know. I really should just do this. Yeah, so this... All right, we probably removed enough. So how much is left of this? Oh, let's reboot. Oh, I can't even reboot. All right, we've now eliminated most of the file. We can't even ls. Now, if you're doing cache drive failure, this is one of the cool things about the new snapshot with memory. So if we try to actually, I don't even think it's accepting. Yeah, it's not accepting command. So now we're going to go. Let's go ahead and force a reboot. Grub rescue. That's not where we want to be. So let's go ahead back over to snapshots. And let's just restore this. Revert your VM. It's going to think for a second. It wouldn't finish even reboot. But here we are, right back to our snapshot with HTOP running that fast. Look, file system intact. Everything's up and running. I've reverted it. The RMRF didn't, where we can't even look at directories. It's that fast to bring it back. This is really kind of the cool features. And then if we wanted to go fork this VM, let's make another VM from the snapshot. So we can actually create a VM from the snapshot. IP shot. Whoops. I'm typing at an angle and looking at the screen, so oh, I didn't hit the storage target. Yes, the snapshot in memory is very huge on it. Matter of fact, though, one of the things one of the things about it that worries me with snapshot memory, and where I'm getting at next is where we can actually back this up. Well, actually, let's go ahead and back over to the console, run htop again. We're going to build a backup job that does the same thing. So we're going to kill this. I don't need the snapshot anymore. Revert it back to it. And we're going to build a new backup job. And we want to do a backup. Select VM. What was that one called? It's our demo Ryzen one here. Select the target. True NAS backup. Advanced. With memory. So now we're actually going to be able to take this server and grab a snapshot of it in its running state as a backup job. So go back over to our backup jobs. There's our Vlog Thursday backup job. Matter of fact, how many copies do we want to keep? I didn't say that. You set that here. We'll say, I'm just naming it keep two copies for retention. Keep it simple. So I have 2 copies of it. Go back over here to the backups. Actually, did I choose the remote? Yes, I do have the remote on here. Let's go ahead and run that backup job. Now we know right now the system is actually this one here, and it's running htop. So it's, when we backed it up, it's actually doing something on there. Oh, this is actually really cool. Customers giving those VMs with memory to cyber authorities to find proof of attacks. That's actually really neat. Or even ransomware still in memory. Yeah, that's actually really cool. Yeah, these are really very cool. Imagine the possibilities. IDS, IPS, yes, for sure. Happy you solved your hacking problems with Untangle.
I hate doing it. Yeah, I would.
Snapshot and then reboot. Yeah, there's, part of our procedure, because we run all of our infrastructure here at the office in XCP-ng, one of the things we're really big on is before we update anything, we just grab a snapshot of it real quick. We'll even just run a backup of it real quick. Just grab it, snapshot it, stick it in there, have it, in the state we want it. That way I can quickly get back to where I need to be if something goes completely wrong. It's really handy to be able to do this. So the backup task is running right now. It's going to be done in about 5 minutes. And we'll be able to play with and restore that. These servers are not the absolute fastest servers, so that's why they're taking like 5 and 6 minutes. This would happen even faster on faster servers. Just a heads up on that for those of you wondering. When we're playing with this, something else I want to show you that's really clever on the backups. Speaking of, let's deal specifically with restoring things. What if I needed a file, but I don't feel like running backwards all the way? So right here's my Debian 11 system, and I can restore this VM. Maybe I needed this older copy from October 31st, but that isn't what we want. We just want one file. I don't want to have to restore an entire VM to get a file. That isn't what you want to do. So what if you could go back here and restore maybe from October 26th on this one here, and go here and go here. Oh, why didn't it work on this one? Am I missing something in that one? It's making a fool out of me. That's not... I bet this server doesn't... The other server I have... Hold on, let me pull up another one. I'm missing a library to make that work. It works in my production server. Let me make sure I got the right... Let me log into it first. Here's one of my production servers, and it should work fine in here. So if we go to restore, there we go. So here's my October 15th backup. And what if I wanted to get a specific file that I needed on this particular system? This is where I think is really cool that they've got this in here. So if I needed one, I'm trying to remember where UniFi installs things. Hold on, I'll look and I'll answer that question but in a more concise way. Varlib, UniFi backup. All right. So we actually need to go. So we go here to var lib. Where's my UniFi? UniFi backup. Let's say I needed that file right there. Now I'm able to get and select a single file and pull it out of a backup without having to store the entire VM. It can look inside of there. This is, like, to me, really handy, because if I needed this older UNF file, but I don't want to restore the whole VM, but I wanted my one UniFi backup that was from my October 15th instance so I could do a comparison, things like that. This to me is just really such a cool feature. And it's all built in. This is one of the things that Xen Orchestra is a lot different compared to, like, here's your hypervisor from VMware and things like that. And then, oh yeah, by the way, like someone mentioned Veeam earlier, use a separate backup server. All of this functionality being built right in at the same time is just, makes your life so much better to be able to just go in and grab any one of those particular files that you need out of something in order to get that working. All right, cool. We have our backup. It's still running HTOP here. So now we're going to go ahead and just stop it. Now we can go back over to backup, restore. Is this the one that's in November? Yeah, that's the right one right here. Now we can restore this one here. Where do I want to save it to? The local NVMe. So here's our backup we just did. We should be able to restore it exactly as it was in the state when it was the snapshot was grabbed. So let that run in the background here. Smash the like button for sure. Make sure you test in production. Yes, of course. You can't fully. So it's you have essentially the level of permission you have to pull files is going to be God level permission, because you're not using the internal permissions built into the system. You're using raw file access essentially to the the compressed of the hard drive image. So you're basically like grabbing a piece of the hard drive image, mounting it as a Linux hard drive image, and then pulling files out of it. Can you do the backups as read only? Well, here's the thing. In the case of ransomware, you just got to make sure your backup targets are not somewhere that the ransomware threat actors would have access to. So obviously, if they have access to your XCP-ng system, then, well, you kind of got a problem. But technically, when you set the target, there's a worm option. I don't know how well that would work, though, as I never tried it. Generally, I don't think of creating like a one-way write but can't delete. That would be very problematic on there. So I don't... Yeah, the best way to do is you create silos, essentially. So you take your backups, and like our backups go to, for this system here, so if your backups are going here to the pool, and you have your Xen Lab VM backups, and then these are other ones are production backups, and then they're replicated to other servers here, then they're replicated again off site. They're replicated in different places. So someone would have to be able to get into all the different replicated servers, which each one has its own password. If you didn't notice, if you reboot this system, these have this icon on them because they're password unlocked to even get to see any of the data in them. Not that they can't just purge and delete your TrueNAS server, but they'd have to delete each TrueNAS server this is replicated to, and then the offsite backups that it's replicated to. So it's not really something as easy as saying read only for the backups. Yeah. XCP push backups, and then those get pulled from the replicate server. They're pushed. It's kind of a cascade. The Xen Orchestra pushes them to a server. I have a whole video I've done on like disaster recovery planning on there. Then they go to, once they're on the TrueNAS server, then they're replicated to another TrueNAS server. And then I have a script I run every week that copies them to an encrypted physical drive that's locked in a safe that I do a rotation with. So I have physical drives locked in safes that are unplugged is where their final extra resting place is. So it just makes it easier. There should, yeah, I don't think Worm would work well in that case. You know, there's a way, and I haven't really tested it. One of the features in here, if we go over here to sharing, I haven't tested this, but there are SMB Worm option becomes read only after 5 minutes. The problem is, how do you ever get rid of your backups? So it would make sense, like I send the backup there, 5 minutes later, it's static and can't be deleted. Okay, but you probably want to run the backup again. Do you have infinite storage to keep an infinite number of backups? Or did you want to write your own process that has to purge those out? So read only doesn't really, it becomes very problematic because, I mean, if you have several petabytes of storage, even that will eventually run out if you keep every single backup for all time. So that's why it's kind of doing it read-only is not going to be something that makes the most sense. Yeah. Worm works well once. Tape library, offsite, you can actually take and just create something offline. You can create something that you only put online once a week. That's another option. Generally speaking, once you have it offsite, the way the ransomware operators operate is gaining access to the infrastructure, and then frequently for convenience, and especially when you're doing with larger enterprises, everyone just uses the same federated logon. So they'll tie it to their an OAuth login to their Microsoft or Google login, and then they'll have everything login the same as opposed to using separate passwords for everything. This just becomes very problematic. And if you do that, that's what allows them to jump through all the access. I can't remember, it was one of the IT firms that got popped. One of the ways they were able to get into everything is they found their spreadsheet that had they had different passwords, but they put them all in one spreadsheet that was easy to find with all the passwords to all the different things they had. So they were able to go through and log into all the different things and do that. So what you do is, as this replicates to different things, you also have each system have its own siloed credentials for each place it lands. So they'd have to find the different credentials to each one of the machines. That's kind of how you layer things better. And of course, doing something that you put online for backups and take offline, that makes a lot more sense. Yeah, I want to do a video soon on some 2FA for some of the SSH systems. Oh yes, spreadsheets are still more secure than a pinned comment in Slack. Isn't that the truth, Twitter? That's the Twitter case in a nutshell there. All right. Where did our restore? Where did I put that? Storage. Success. That's the backup. Did the restore success? Something didn't success. Oh, I restored it as a template. Oops. My bad. That's not good. All right. Different problem today. Why is it showing as a template? That's just weird. I screwed something up. Nothing like doing it live and somehow accidentally checking a box that turns something into a template. Well, I guess we can probably destroy that template. Storage. Hold on, let's narrow this down to singular server here. Just because it makes it easier to look. I could filter for, but I'm not filtering. Oh, crap. Go mouse, go. So here's this. How did I end up with... we'll destroy it. I don't understand what this template's for. So that definitely... Now you get to watch things go wrong in real time, right? Yeah. YubiKey, yes. We actually have, and I'll show you here. We've been doing a lot of testing with the new YubiKeys, and we like them. I just been slow to... this is true. I think Oliver's probably right here. Maybe your XO from source is outdated. I remember a bug that slipped by master restoring template instead of a VM. Good possibility, and I won't argue with that. I definitely have maybe goofed things up a bit. Like, what version am I on? Let's look here. Well, it says 5.8.3. I think that's the latest. But back to the YubiKey, these are definitely... I plan to do some updated videos. Me and Jay both bought a handful of these. We just haven't gotten around because I've been so busy with other projects to do some videos on these. A lot of places we can use this. We got these configured for using with Bitwarden. We got these configured for using with some of the online tools we have. Sorry, I got the hiccups a little bit. Some of the online tools we have these configured. So yeah, these are definitely, the YubiKeys are great. Excuse me. I know what gave me the hiccups. I plan to do some videos and some explainers on these. I just been kind of busy with other projects. Especially, this is one reason I'm building my own studio, so I can just kind of continuously work and record as needed. So I actually probably will put more content out once the new studio is built. So, looks like I'm on the right version of Xen Orchestra. Yeah, I mean, you could set up however you want. I'm using, like I said, TrueNAS, and with TrueNAS, you can use snapshots, and that's in fact, one of the things we do here. If you look at, we snapshot lots and lots of things. So we've got auto snapshotting going back for weeks on all this. And if you're not familiar with the way ZFS replication works, it doesn't just replicate the now data, it replicates all the snapshot data as well. So all these snapshots are completely replicated along with all the real data. So this is just some way we do all the replication on here. So yeah, definitely. And of course, you set all the retention policies on this as well. So let's try and restore that again, because I'm curious what happened. So let's restore it. Put it in local NVMe. So kick off the restore process again. See where it goes this time. Let's do this too. Let's log in here. This is the actual server running it, the Xen Orchestra server. So you can see it's chugging away, doing its thing, restoring that backup. 3 minutes remaining. I want to see where it goes this time. I don't know if I screwed up or I just have a bad copy of something here. I should rename this to... When you start having a bunch of servers that say local storage, well, make sure you go, that way when you're in here, servers, and we'll reconnect these other ones. Local storage, but I know you can see what it's on. This one's on my Dell Lab, so we'll actually put that on there. This is on... There we go. By the way, if you didn't know this about the way it works in XCP-ng, I really like the fact that you can just rename things. Because everything's assigned by UUID, you can use plain text, normal naming schemes that are easy for humans to read and name them, and it doesn't affect anything. So by renaming anything on here, it does not directly affect the other functions of it. So it doesn't, like if I read right now, this is on a network that says storage, and this is on ETH1 10 gig. So that's ETH1 10 gig. All right, cool. If I want to go into the pool, look at the Dell Lab network, and I wanted to rename this, no problem. It's not going to break anything if I changed it to ETH1 10 gig. All right, we changed it, so it's got a capital E, but naming is arbitrary. Hey, look, has a capital E here. This is a really, you can build networks without shutting down the VMs or anything like that. Swap the networks and hit the pull down and swap where they're at. Not a good idea while they're actually running a backup task, because I guarantee that'll break my backup task. And this is the Xen Orchestra we're using, but changing these on the fly, not a big deal. Even like right now, the VM's not running, so we'll go ahead and fire it up. Let it boot up all the way. Oh, you can also change a template in a VM in CLI. Ah, okay. That's cool right there. I didn't know that. Get polling in and do the master build. That's always good advice. But I like this advice here. That's really cool. I didn't know you could just flip a template back and forth like that. That's actually really slick. And to answer Ernesto's question right here, this is what I drew. Yes, Xen Orchestra can manage simultaneously many hosts. It's a one-to-many relationship. So you can use one Xen Orchestra to manage individual hosts or clusters of them, or pools, depending. Pool is the proper term. I say cluster because a lot of people maybe coming from other hypervisors might call it that. But when you group together a series of XCP-ng hosts, they become a pool, and the resource pool that is managed, you then just manage the pool, and it manages all the ones inside of there as well. Oh, you know, I didn't talk about this much, but in case you didn't notice, the facelift that was given to the diagrams.net, you can switch themes now between this look or, you know, a different, more modern look. It's kind of cool the way they've changed all of this. They done it a little bit different and use these little floating menus and shapes and format, but you can go back to the old one if you prefer. In the preferences, they've got a theming here. Right now it's on the minimal, but I can actually switch to like the default theme or whichever. They're doing some cool updates. I need to do a new video on diagrams.net because I really like the way they've updated this. It's really slick. Anyways, back to something I was talking about, switching a network. So right now, if we go here and we type in LTS, and you got to type the password right, which I did wrong. All right. So here's the IP address of 172.16.69.78. We're going to hear to the network. By the way, you can see this. And this was a big quality of life improvement. Copy to clipboard. Oh man, being able just to put that in a clipboard is very handy. Anyways, let's switch this to the Pwnage network. So this switches here. It switches to Pwnage. This takes not long. This updates within about 30 seconds. But immediately, because it's on a different network, here it's on the 10.113.37.122. There's this new IP address. If I were to create another VLAN, so I go over here to the pool, and this was on the Ryzen. If I go into the network, add network, and I were to create another VLAN, we'll just call this vlog 200, just because, well, actually it's vlog 250. 250. So there that. VLAN 200 is actually a real VLAN in my network. Well, there's nothing on it, so it's going to give an error. So we'll just type in 250 and we'll delete it afterwards. So we just created another VLAN. If we go back over to that, you can on the fly. All right, we created it. And, whoops. There we go. We can switch to it. But there's nothing at 250, so it's not going to work. You don't have to restart the VM. You don't have to restart services. You can do these on the fly. So this is one of the reasons I would like it. So if when I'm building my lab stuff out, I can very quickly and rapidly start building different network interfaces, tying them all together. And it's almost just an arbitrary thing to do it. Now you can't delete a network while it's attached to one. You'll get an error message on there. But then we're going to go back over here to home pools. Then we'll go back over to here, network. And we'll just go ahead and delete the vlog 250 network. And it's gone. There's no VMs attached to it, or I would have got an error. By the way, and if you didn't notice this is not, I've not dove a lot into this. I know people have used it a lot, and this is really cool. They have the ability now to create different rules from to range, and you can start creating rules around the VM, so you kind of lock them in to very specific firewall rules. It's kind of slick that it's got this ability. It's kind of an interesting way to assign that. Select IPs. You can create IP pools in here, so they're only allowed to be this IP. That way, if you had someone else who remotes into the VM, they can't log into the VM, swap the IP address, try to statically assign something they weren't allowed to do. This is actually a really cool feature on there to be able to do that, to allow that to have this more advanced, like I need to lock this person down. I want to be able to let people into this, but they're going to have root access and they have the ability to possibly change it. I don't want them to interfere with something else I have that may be attached to the same LAN. So that's where it gets in, you know, even if it's not security, if they set the IP to something else on a network, they're going to cause conflicts and cause problems. Is Xen Orchestra on the platform engineering free for use, like VMware? It's all open source, yeah. I've had no problems with 10 gig, and some of the demos I did were on 25 gig. So I would say Xen Orchestra doesn't have a problem working with 25 gig. There are some limitations because of the processors in there. So if you're doing like a Z standard compression, it does seem, well, that's cool. I'll get to this in a second. If you have a processor fast enough, it'll start saturating the bandwidth. But if you don't, there's some processor threading limitations that you may have to overcome. So just popping a 25 gig card or faster in a system doesn't necessarily mean you'll get the full speed out of something like Xen Orchestra doing a backup. You also have to have enough processing power to handle the moving of all that data. I think I'm saying that right. And I think it's just a limitation. I mean, Z standard is fast, but it does seem to have some processor limitations when it's doing that. All right. Did that install again as a template? Whoops. Let's go back over to storage. Yep, still installed as a template. So that's weird. That is, I'll look. I'll just recompile it. I won't do it during the live stream here, but yes, we'll just recompile this and sort that problem out. Because that's weird that it's restoring that way. Well, here's something weird. Let's do this and go back over to our backups. We'll destroy the backup now. So get rid of that backup. Overview, let's go. The only thing different we really did was, what do we call that backup job? Blog. Then we go here. Let's just try this. Normal. Instead of a memory backup, we'll just grab a normal backup of this. Matter of fact, we'll make it a Delta backup just for convenience. Save. By the way, something else I'm going to mention that's interesting. So if you look here at the backup and we edit it, this backup says it's backing up Ubuntu server on Ryzen. All right, no problem. What if we want to rename this? Well, we'll recall this Blog Thursday demo. Matter of fact, we can even call it here. So if we go back over to the backup and edit it, hey, look, it knows its different name. That once again, because everything's tied to UUID, you can kind of flip around and change all the different things you want. It doesn't really break anything. We can just go ahead and do that. And let's go ahead and run this backup now. I didn't do the memory thing in this version of the backup. This is just going to be a more normal backup. So report on, if you look at advanced settings, just do things normally. Don't do that, and we'll see how that backup runs and restore it and see. I'm curious if the bug is only if I have it with memory turned on, because I've been using this to back up and back up and restore things a few times, and I don't remember having any problems with it. So weird, but hey, if not, recompile it. Let's see. XO backup, it won't be fast enough yet to saturate 10G. We're also working on improving this, but for XCP VMs, you can easily saturate. Yeah, for the VMs, no problems. When you're connecting these, and I demoed this with a couple different systems, if you have these systems connected to each other at 25 gigs, you can move the data. At 25 gigs, you'll start running into limitations of the different RAID arrays you may have. But if you have something like an NVMe array, yeah, you can start moving the data back and forth at that speed. Or I have I did a video with the Synology, and the Synology connected to XCP-ng with a 25 gig connection. So using the Synology as a storage target, crazy amount of speed I was getting out of that. That's in my recent videos as well. SYNOLOG. I am having a really hard time spelling things today. I probably gotta look at my YouTube channel directly for this. Find it. I don't remember the model number. There we go. So I did these benchmarks in this, and they're all done with XCP-ng connected to it. So at 25 gig, it gave some real impressive performance numbers. So using XCP-ng, and I have this, I broke all this down in a video, but you can get some really good performance out of here, really good IOPS, all over 25 gigs. So not from an XO backup standpoint, but from a performance standpoint, yes, you can use 25 gig cards. Yes, you can saturate them, provided you have a system fast enough to do so. That's almost done there. Yeah. Oh, this too. Yes. The VM network speed. That's true too. All right. So we'll go ahead and stop this one. Backup. Restore. Here's our vlog. There's a demo. We'll put it back over here. Let's see what it happens. How fast will it restore? Will it cause that problem again? Will it turn it into a template or will it restore? That's weird. It's the first time I've ever seen this problem. And I know I've played with restore on this a few times because this is our usual lab server for playing with stuff all the time. Which is why it doesn't have like a full URL at the top. Lots of good chat going on here. 1 minute remaining. All these connections here are only over 10 gig, so they're reasonably fast to back up and restore VMs. When I do my actual video tutorials, I always speed all this up so you don't have to actually see how long each one of these took to back up and restore. One minute, 40 seconds remaining. I'm still excited about the upcoming S3 storage targets. Actually, let's go look over here. Yeah, this is us doing those backups and restores. 7 seconds remaining, and then we get to figure out where it goes. Where is this going to land? There we go. Hey, look, it works. So apparently if I do snapshot with memory, it goes not where I want it to go. But if I do it this way, it does. So this one works. So there we go. It seems to boot up fine. So it works there. Let's go ahead and try that. Let's go ahead and modify the backup to say with memory next time. This booted right up, no problem. Let's go ahead and remove. Destroy that one. Actually, let's get rid of this one. I don't need it anymore. I do some housekeeping. All right. Let's look at the backup. Let's edit the backup. And let's just see if we can modify the backup to say with memory. Too many windows open. Only narrow these down a bit. All right, so it's modified with memory. It's currently off, so that's not much there. So let's go ahead and turn it back on and have it doing something. And we'll have it do a snapshot with memory and see if I get that same result again. Is there a way to transfer from VMware ESXi to Docker? VMware to ESXi to Docker is not a thing because you're talking about different technologies. Docker is a containerization system, not a virtualization system. If you want to convert from a VMware ESXi and convert the format over to something else, that's possible. If you, right here's too, if you move your VMs in OVA format, import to your favorite open source hypervisor. So yes, that's a way to do it. And I've also done a video on how to, this is a really fun, clever way, and this works. We've done this with VMware to get things migrated over. Virtual machine to physical machine. But really, it can be, I cover this in this video. It's a really simple video. I mean, it's 15 minutes long, but I cover moving things from even VirtualBox, or you can insert hypervisor of choice where you want the source to be, but the destination can be XCP-ng. So using tools like CloneZilla make it really easy. Really, I mean, there's more than just CloneZilla, whatever cloning software you want. But this is a way when people go, okay, I'm having trouble getting out some of these formats. I just want to clone it. And if you fire up CloneZilla on one, fire it up on the other, and you can do it. Now, if you're trying to reload the same server, that becomes a slightly extra intermediary step in between, but something completely that you can do because you could actually take CloneZilla and tell it to export out to a file. But you can actually do system-to-system transfers and clone it, and we have done that. If you're doing a Windows server, there are tools in Windows, P2V. How to convert physical servers using virtual disk to VHD. This is for doing Windows systems. This is a tool. It's actually made to get you into Hyper-V. Turns out you can get yourself into XCP-ng as well. So this will work as well. I've got a video. It's how to convert physical servers to virtual servers using disk to VHD with XCP and Xen Orchestra. So there's a couple different ways you can handle it depending on the types of servers you're trying to migrate, but absolutely yes. So all right, we're doing a snapshot with memory. I just want it running something so I can see. And that was 10 minutes ago, so we'll go ahead and just run this back up again. It should run a job with memory now. No, post in XCP-ng forums. If you want to talk really specifically about XCP-ng forums, that's the place to go. I'll drop a link. Do you recommend using the built-in backup system? I'm assuming you're talking about XCP-ng. I always use the built-in backup system for XCP-ng. I don't have a reason not to use it. Can you export from Proxmox XCP-ng? There's ways to convert it because Proxmox uses a different format. There's some conversion methods you can Google, but the CloneZilla method I mentioned works fine too. So using CloneZilla is a easy way to make that happen. All right, backup successful. So we have the backup, snapshot, delta. Let's stop this. Actually, make sure. So it was running this. We're going to stop it. Now we can run a restore. We got 2 deltas. We want the second delta that was run at 524. And start, I guess. Let's see what happens. See if we can repeat the bug. Can we make this happen again? And if I can, then offline I'm going to recompile this. So it's pulling in the suspend image, and now it's pulling in this. So let's watch the chat. Yeah, nested is good for testing, but don't use nested in production if you can avoid it. That's the QCOW to OVF is very easy. I've seen instructions how to do it. I've not used Proxmox to actually test it, but it is something you can do to do the conversion on there. All right, we got 2 minutes remaining before this gets copied over. I think this is a good question too that someone has here for Oliver. Is there just a donation option to donate to the project? I've had people ask that before. I don't think that, maybe I'm wrong and I don't see anything on there, but yeah, if there was a some way people could just donate to the project, because there's a lot of people that just, a lot of home users, they maybe can't afford the full license, but would still like to help out and contribute. So that'd be kind of cool if there's an option for that. Jay just did a bunch of videos because Jay does the Proxmox stuff. He just did a bunch of videos on it, but Jay really does like XCP-ng. So he's a fan of both. He's used XCP-ng in my office. He's played around with it some himself. He definitely likes it, but he's got a lot of stuff in Proxmox, and he's like, well, he doesn't mind doing the Proxmox because it's a good system too. And a lot of people like it. What's his name? Helix Proxmox as well. Craft Computing. He's got a lot of Proxmox servers as well. 9 seconds remaining. Does it build it into a template? That's the big question we have here. Nope, it didn't. Weird. Okay, I got no reason I did that the first time. I got nothing. But, oh, it booted it though. So that's interesting. It booted it. It didn't, even though it had a memory version of it, it didn't do it. So let's stop it and advance, remove, go back over to restore again. And maybe we don't. I usually don't use, I've not really played much with the backups with memory. I think it's cool it has it. I've mostly done snapshots of memory, not backups. Let's go to backups, restore. We're going to restore the memory snapshot one, which is this one here. I'm not going to tell it to start. So I think because it has a memory snapshot, it should already be in that position. Oh, by the way, the latest version has this. Hide short tasks. Yes. That's a nice little feature for those of you who didn't know. That's some of the short tasks that may occur. It'll do it. So let's 5 more minutes. Actually, I'm going to wind this down in the next half hour, by the way. To give an idea, the cost of running XCP and GXO is roughly $2 million a year and growing. So, yes. Yeah, that's one thing about it is as these companies grow, it's a bigger project, and I think a lot of people realize. I've seen some stuff, man. We've talked and consulted with, and obviously we know people that buy a lot of the enterprise support, and we've helped them with things. So they'll buy like a true NAS setup from us. There's some big companies that run XCP-ng, and that's we actually we helped a bigger company convert a a lot of systems. They got off of Hyper-V, and they're not small. They're building a pretty large their data center for their internal stuff. It's a private data center, private cloud, if you want to call it that, but it's a pretty big facility they're building out, and it's all XCP-ng now. We've been doing a lot of consulting work for them to get them set up on new storage and things like that, because they are not as familiar with the TrueNAS world, but they fell in love with the XCP-ng. So yeah, I'm excited to see that the project's gotten so much bigger. Could be hot sauce. Yeah. Yeah. ChewCharts is another awesome project. When I get around to doing my next series on, because it's going to be it's in release candidate now for the TrueNAS scale. So I'm going to be getting back to some TrueNAS scale stuff as well. There's so many things I want to play with and so little time to play with them all. That's that's always where the big task is. All right, so now I'm actually missing something, because it does do this, but there's no resume. So I did a snapshot with memory, but it doesn't leave it in a running state. So when I turn it on, it just does a normal boot up. But it doesn't make it as a template, so that's interesting. I'll recompile this and play with it some more. I'll get it more concise when I do my video on it. But hopefully if this showed you anything, it's really, really easy to migrate VMs, back them up, restore them, destroy them, do fun things with them, migrate them to other servers, and convert them to template, clone them, start on, recovery start. With this. Hey, you know what? Since there's a way to undo this, it's actually not definitive. Go ahead and just purge it. Or we can revert back to copy to template. Can we just... So it does do this. If I revert the snapshot, let's go ahead and try that real quick. See if it reverts it with the memory. This is even better. I don't even have to go file a bug report. Yeah, I guess if you do a live stream, you mention XCP-ng with a lot of people talking about it, and you demo your thing, and Oliver Lambert happens to be there, they'll take a look at it. Yeah, I can revert the snapshot back, but when I'm restoring it, it doesn't start it in a running state. So it seems it does the memory restore, but I don't know where it's not restoring it to a running state. Or when it did choose running state for the restore, it didn't do that. So the final question might be, and let's go ahead and purge the snapshot. Go back over to the backup. Let's do this. Let me get rid of these because I don't want any of the old VMs. You got to do this housekeeping because I'll be doing this and I'll be like, what are all these VMs everywhere that I got backed up? This is all our lab server, but still, there's sometimes a lot. Let's go back to a standard backup with memory. So advanced proxy failure, Z standard. I don't think there's anything special here I have to do. So this is your normal backup with memory. Save. Execute the backup. Try it one more time. After this backup, by 6 o'clock, I'm going to wind this down because my son messaged me. He wants pizza. So. All right, it's backing up everything right now. If you're wondering here, let's talk about this. Xen. Terraform you can work with. Someone said infrastructure is code. There are Terraform setups that you can use with Xen Orchestra. So maybe that's what you're trying to get at with that question. Ooh, and Ansible coming soon.
Yep. Yeah, we can get in remotely and actually from step one and just tell you,
The one thing that's you can't be overlooked is the API on the API interface is really cool because you can do a lot with it. The things you can do from the command line, things you can write batch scripts for, or any type of control, and the whole API interface they have really gives you a lot. Not to mention inside of Xen Orchestra, you can do all kinds of weird custom things. I say weird because it's like you can just kind of dream up things and build different. Yeah, here's all the commands. There's probably more. ACL, host attach, host restart. You can set like jobs up and things like that too. It's really cool that they've got, like, if you have this one-off thing that you need to do, you can run this, tell what you run the user as, or you can go to scheduling and create schedules for it. I've not really used this much, but I just kind of marvel that it's there. That it gives you a lot of extra features you may not realize you needed, so to speak. You're like, I didn't know I needed this feature, and this is kind of handy to have. Come on, back up. I want to do the restore soon so we can figure out if this works. How many people are on the live stream? Take a second here. 120 people, 69 likes. Click some more like buttons over here. Three minutes remaining. I need to switch everything to 25 gigs. Look at this. It's just, I need more speed. Let's see. What else do we have in here? Oh, something's making me sneeze now. All right. Oh, all right. Let's go to restore now. Actually, first, let's shut down this VM. Go back, backup, restore. One full backup with a memory snapshot there. I will, I guess, say start VM as restore. Let's try it first with start. See what happens. Four days. That'll fix real quick. 5 minutes. 6. It'll restore in less than that. I think it's been taking like 4 minutes to restore each one. 2 minutes. See what it does. Need the Jeopardy noise. There's never enough speed, no matter what I do. Yeah. Something too fast for networking. It's, well, you get a faster network, then you gotta get faster hard drives, then you get faster hardware, then you say, all right, now the network's the bottleneck. You kind of roll through all your bottlenecks, and it's just a continuous and perpetual upgrade for everything. 3 minutes. Three minutes remaining. What else can we do while we're waiting for that? What else is in here? Anything? I don't think I have anything interesting here. Look at all the backup logs here. I gotta look and figure out what I'm missing too. I'll solve that when I recompile this because the file restore is not working on this. Only files of Delta backup which are not on SMB can restore it. Okay. I'm missing some module for this to work properly. I'll sort that out. It's working on my production server, so I've solved it there. Go back to my notes. No such VM. Huh. Well, there's the error logs I have. Command mount options loop RO size limit equals blah, 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 blah. Interesting. So it's not able to do it. No such VM. So it has it only as a template. So if we go back over here to storage, and here it is as a template again. Okay. So it's unable to reassemble this. Interesting. But where is that limitation at? So what if we went over here to backup, restore, and there's a block. There's the one. What if we restored it somewhere else? So here's my... Let's throw it to here. TrueNAS, no, not that one. Trinity Lab, NFS. So let's try to restore it here and see if I get that same error. I wonder if it doesn't like the local storage, and if it's different if I restore it to a remote storage target. Okay, that's... Yes. When you compiling it yourself is definitely where you're going to make more mistakes. This is why I encourage people using this in a business environment. You buy the commercial support package, because then you don't worry about what you missed and what you goofed up when you were compiling things. I like the learning factor of everything else, but there's certainly the mistake factor that comes with it, and that's where you need a team of professionals to help you avoid forgetting libraries and add-ons that you forgot to put in there. I'm not likely to do any Nextcloud Docker image stuff. I don't even know, does Nextcloud have an official Docker image that they support? One of my aggravations with people on the internet, just pull it from Docker, just copy and paste this random code. And in case you didn't see it today, and we'll pull this up real quick because I want to rant about it while we're waiting. This is a real problem right here. Supply chain attacks. Come on, made the window too big. Going from a 4K screen to a 1080 is bring it down. There's a constant hijacking of different things and supply chain attacks. So when you start talking about popular Docker repositories that are run by some unknown person as opposed to an official package maintainer, this is a real challenge. This is not Docker, this is NPM, but the concept's still the same. It's still a supply chain attack. And what better way? And I've talked about this before. You can research Docker images containing bad packages and security problems. It's not that there's anything wrong with Docker. It's understanding the supply chain and how it's coming to you from Docker and where you're pulling that Docker commit from. And so this is something just to really, who needs commercial support when you can join Blog Thursday? But this is something that you can really think about when you're doing these is make sure that you know where you're getting these Docker images from. All right, it's still not running, but let's go over here to storage. Yep, did the same thing. So it's not the storage target that caused the problem. Strange. It's full backups causing the problem. Weirdly, Delta does work, but Delta doesn't do the memory restore. Cool either way. I still like that I can restore snapshots from memory, but have to look at that little bug there on that. Interesting nonetheless. All right. What else were we talking about here? I've never tried running XOA over zero tier. So, okay, Nextcloud does have an official Docker image. That's cool. Good to know that they have one. Any thoughts on a Netgate end of sale? I mean, everything has a life, and then they stop. They have the end of sale is not the same as end of support. So yeah. So yeah, I don't really have any thoughts on it. It's just, whatever. Still no interest in learning IPv6 because it's cool networking. I just don't care about IPv6. There's a joke that's been running for a number of years that is at one of the local Linux, well, not Linux, it's more of a computer users group. This guy's been doing the same talk every January for like 15 years called the Year of IPv6. So, I mean, cool. But it's not the year of IPv6. Everyone tells me it is, but the internet powers that be and the group think that is the internet tells me it's going to be a long time before IPv6 becomes a thing. Oh yeah, see, you deploy suit may have issues getting them. I don't think we're just slowly bumping. We've been bumping people up. We do have a ton of them out in the field. So yeah, the 6100. We've been deploying more 6100s on the pfSense side lately. So a lot of people like it because people are getting into 10 gig. It's got the 10 gig. It's got SFP. So definitely a nice way to do it. Oh, here's something I don't know the answer to yet. And while we have Oliver here, this is a solid question. Because the arbitrary rule that Windows 11 needs a TPM system, will we be seeing TPM support, or is it already there and I'm just not sure how to enable it? Will we be able to like tag TPM as part of a VM in order to get like Windows 11 working with its full TPM support in there? We gave a TPM error and we didn't dig into it, but that's actually what this is for. Is we noticed that there was some problems with the Windows 11 test and the TPM not being recognized in there. So I don't know if it's a system we have. It doesn't pass it through properly. I've not really investigated it much. One of my staff looked at it, but we didn't dig deep into it. I guess that's a question. Is there going to be more support in the future for Xen Server and TPM? So, to make Windows 11 arbitrarily happy for those people that want to run it, which Windows 11 is full of issues and I don't really see the need to run it anytime soon. Yes. Okay. There will be named VTPM, virtual TPM, to come in XCP-ng, but it's not there yet. We like to work with Citrix. Perfect. Absolutely solid answer on that. All right. Got people calling. So last couple minutes here. What else we got? I'll go all the way till 6. Rapid fire questions. It can be about XCP-ng. I'm going to do more tutorials on it. That's definitely coming. I'll be playing around with some of these new things. We'll probably look for a patch update. Oliver Lambert's going to dive into this problem that I have with restoring it. But hey, why not learn things all together on here? I have not played with it, but Wendell did tell me XOSAN, even though it's in beta right now, is a something he played with that's supposed to be pretty good. The XOSAN system. I have not touched it yet myself. I do plan to play with it at some point as they're coming along with it. So that's definitely on my to-do list to do some XOSAN testing. What pizza's on the menu today? I don't know yet. Oh, okay. XOSAN replacement will be XOStore and collab with Linbit. Oh, cool. All right. That's awesome. There's some exciting news as well for those of you that want to be playing with that. So was there a word about Synology? You know, I wanted to get to that because I'm running the latest Synology over here. Here we can combine our Synology along with our combine the two together. So this is my Synology, and we'll go over here to control panel. We are running the latest DSM 701 here. Let's go back over to... I got too many... Reduce the number of things that are open. Yeah, I don't think I have this in here. So, new storage. We'll attach this to the Ryzen system. This is going to be my Synology. We'll do an iSCSI target. One thing I learned about the way iSCSI works inside of Synology, it's way faster than NFS and Synology. Synology is not optimized for NFS. That is a certainty that I ran into when doing some of the testing here. It does support NFS. It's not as... It's a Synology problem, not a XCP-ng problem at all. Matter of fact, I have NFS versus iSCSI, and when you're using Synology, you get a lot more speed. When you're using TrueNAS, it's a little bit of a mixed bag. But yeah, I'm running the latest version here, and we should pull up the storage manager. That's our SAN manager. Where's the storage one? Storage manager. We're now using the latest built-in pair of NVMEs along with 4 SSDs. And yeah, I want to do some testing and speed testing with it with the new version to see how it works out. I also have the RS model, one of the rack station ones, all flash, and I'll be doing some updated videos. So they both just got it. I just did today a Synology HA video as well, and I did that with the latest version of DSM 7.01. So so far I haven't run into any problems with it. Seems to be a good solid update, so I'm happy to report on that. Only downer is iSCSI is not shareable. iSCSI is shareable. When you can use iSCSI as a shared storage target between 2 servers. The live streams are on Wednesday for the Home Lab show, and neither me nor Jay compile Android, so don't expect any videos on compiling Android. So that's the update on that. So, well, I may do a video. I don't know if there's enough to do a video about it, so. I don't know if there's enough about the whole Synology 701 update. It's nice. I like the look of it. I like the way it gives you the look of each of the drives, each of the systems on there. But like I said, you can use, if you have hosts in a pool, iSCSI will work as a multiple machines can talk to it, but not if they're all individual pools, they will not talk to it that way. You can't mount more than one. Technically, you can't in NFS either, but with NFS, each server that connects to the NFS, it creates another UUID. So there's a series of folders in NFS for all the connections. Let's live migrate. Let's just do that. Synology NAS. There we go. We'll just live migrate it over. That's, handy stuff. We don't have to restart the VM or anything like that. We can attach a new storage, migrate it over to that storage, and it's going to take about 2 minutes to copy it over. We'll go back over here. Pull up our resource speeder. Guess you pull up the network speed. What are we at so far? It's taking a second to copy. Let's see. 2 minutes remaining. About 287 megs. It'll catch up in a second. How much CPU utilization are there, though? Oh, not bad. It's not overrunning the CPU on this. 287 megs a second copying. Not too bad. There we go. Memory utilization, volume. Okay. It's copying. This is an important part, is that if you want to do a TPM, if you're trying to emulate a trusted platform module, as Oliver's alluding to, you want to have it to be actually trusted. So there's a lot of engineering that I'm positive they will be putting into it to make it a true trusted platform module, not just a TPM. Because just emulating one is one thing. Emulating one in a secure manner so people can't wedge themselves in between it is a little bit harder of a task. There we go. We're still not using up too much processor on this. That's not bad. It's transferring. Still about 3 minutes remaining. Not bad for a live transfer. Overall, though, I got to admit, I'm pretty happy with the Synology NAS. That's why I did that video on HA on it. I've had no problems running Plex. Those of you have pointed out a few times and tagged me. I did a video on Tailscale. Tailscale's officially in here. It's a third-party package, but it is without having to manually load the package. You can run this in Synology DSM now. That's pretty cool. These are the contributor ones. Tailscale is pretty slick. I think they've added more of these tools in here, and of course you got the Docker. So if you want to pull some Docker images and run containers inside of here. I don't think I have any in here right now. %. There we go. It's thinking. Yeah, the Synologies are nice little boxes. If you're setting up at home, the extra features you get on here, and I don't think I've done any dedicated videos on how to set up NFS or iSCSI with as a storage target, but it's really easy to set these up. It doesn't take long at all to build an iSCSI target, attach it to something like XCP-ng, and use it. Pretty straightforward. And then for your backups, you can always go to your remotes. So if you go to your settings, remotes, you can also choose, like I've got this chosen right here, the TrueNAS Trinity Lab, but you can just as easy choose anything else on there you want. If you want to set up like a SMB share so all your VMs can be backed up, XCP-ng and Synology play really nice together. There's really no downside to using them. The only problems you may run into is someone will always point out, but Synology doesn't have really super fast systems. I'm like, yeah, they're not. Synology always goes for the tried and true stable, but they're not a beast when it comes to hardware. But they've done a lot of efficiencies, so you can still get good performance out of Synology despite it not having an incredibly fast processor in it. Who comes every vlog Thursday, watches like 90% of the stream, and then drop a dislike? Lots of people do. There's always haters. That's YouTube. You should read the comments. That's where things get even more fun. 1 minute remaining for the migration. Then I'll see what kind of speed we get out of it. What kind of IOPS can we get out of this thing? Do I have something on there I can test with? So what, actually, let's go here. Yep, I got this. So I can run some FIO tests. Says it's done transferring. 27 seconds remaining. Counting down. It's almost there. All right, cool. It's on the other system now. See if this chokes the Synology out. 32,000 IOPS, 37,000. Not bad. Go back over to the disk. It's thinking. Not super fast, but I'll do some testing and tuning and all that fun stuff. Disk output. I could play with this all day, but eventually I do have to go. So anyways. See. What do we have in here? Yes, UC3200 is good in the enterprise environment. I think Jay has a video on Cloud Init. The challenges with Cloud Init are often Cloud Init challenges, so I'll throw that out there. It's not necessarily something with Debian itself. One of the things that Jay pointed out, and Jay's been working on writing up some documentation. Jay from Learn Linux TV. He realized when he was doing some Cloud Init testing that there's just some gaps in the documentation. So he found people complaining, but the complaints are mostly from missing documentation for certain things. I haven't tested it myself. Cloud.net's maybe on at some point, maybe I'll do some testing on it so I can figure out what the gaps are and do a tutorial. Me and Jay have talked about it a couple times. Lightweight application in place of Nextcloud? I don't know. I don't use Nextcloud, so not really sure. Not the same thing, I know, but I use SyncThing to synchronize my documents and files that I need. For example, if I wanted to save this document, I'd save it and it would be synced immediately between all my systems simultaneously. I'm fine with that as a solution. This is how we handle a lot of the documents here at the office that are local documents. I work on them at home or work on them here. They're saved and are synced. I don't really use, I usually use applications like this. I don't really use Nextcloud. Ooh, I'm excited about a November release on it. I will mention this because I mentioned it earlier. I have forums, yes, but if you want to talk directly about XCP-ng, here's a link to their forums, xcp-ng.org/forum. And, go read through. There's a lot of good information in there. I do more reading than posting in there, but nonetheless, if you want to get a good grasp on a lot of these things, there's a definite good reason to go in there. You can read through problems people have had, solutions that have been posted for it, different ways people are using XCP-ng. Definitely recommend checking out their forums over there. The team at Vates looks through those forums. This is how you can interact with them. So this is definitely, I even suggest people when if you were to post in my forums about Cloud.net, I would just send you a link over the XCP-ng forums, be like, hey, head over there. So yes. Come full circle. Use sync to sync all your password.xlsx file. Absolutely. And yes, the team over at XCP-ng and Vates are happy to get your the feedback on things that are working and are broken. I'll just go 2 more minutes. 2 more minutes to answer a few more questions and stuff. But I gotta run. I gotta get my son a pizza. Message him back. I'm gonna. Install from source. Yes, this is the best answer. When you want to test this at home, and one of the reasons, and I've said this before, when I do my videos with this, one of the reasons this is installed from source with no support, I want to make sure people who want to learn about this have access to it. I have a video on how to build from source, so I've got this covered. But this is important because I want people to say everything I'm doing in this video is something completely accessible to you, the home lab user that says my budget is about ramen noodles and I really want to learn so I can get into IT so I have a better than ramen noodle budget. And so I love tools that put very strong accessibility for those of you that are home users that want to get into it. But at the same time, offers support. So if you are in, we have enterprise customers we work with that they watch me do this and they go, if it does this much for free, I'm willing to give these people money and buy a support contract as needed to support this in our enterprise environment. This is, one of the things I really like about the way the whole Xen Orchestra project works. Compile it all open source, get all the cool bells and whistles. You have a massive amount of things at your fingertips. And as I said, the videos I've been doing are on the complete compiled from source version. But if you then move into a business role using this, yeah, go ahead, buy the support contract right from them, and don't have to deal with compiling this all from source and perhaps missing a library, which I'll admit I definitely missed. I'm not sure which one I missed right now. I can figure it out, but that's also part of the learning process of getting better at tech, is understanding how to compile things, understanding how to assemble them. It's just, to me, it's a big part of it, kind of getting your hands dirty working on this. I never recommend, other than for labs, running TrueNAS as a pass-through. So that's something not something I recommend, because it's always, not always, but it can be problematic. It's fun for testing, but never good for then. ZFS boot on Ubuntu, not something I'm likely to use. I might explore ButterFS on Ubuntu or something, but honestly, ZFS on Ubuntu doesn't have me all excited. It's just not high on my list of things to do. So thank you all for joining. Thank you especially from that Oliver was here answering all of your questions on XCP-ng. This was great. It will definitely be one of those things we might do again sometime, as long as maybe I'll coordinate it and message Oliver ahead of time to make sure he's got time. But luckily he did have time. So this is, he had time to help participate and do all this. But at some point, maybe me and Oliver will connect and do some videos, do a video together talking about the history of the projects. I like a good origin story. And boy, Xen Orchestra, I mean, just a couple years ago, this was a Kickstarter with, well, the XCP-ng specifically was a Kickstarter. And now it's like it kicked into overdrive over the last couple of years between the Xen Orchestra product, which has been around for a while, and the XCP-ng platform. And the combination of these two things has been really cool. It's just, we'll drag Wendell in if we can too, because I know right now Wendell's definitely enthusiastic about this product as well. So there's a lot of us that are all excited about it. That's yes. PXE VDI boot setup, not anytime soon. I don't really use that anymore. Just kind of lack of need. So, oh, that's even better. As soon as I'm traveling in the US, it'll be come by to say hi. That's cool. I'd love to show you around. And no, I'm looking forward to that too. So thanks everyone that came. Thanks everyone for joining, and I'll see you next week, or some videos in between.